Got something new in the mail. Was doing some research while writing the intro to the next Iron Journeys. And so this is the first one right here. And in my intro, I'm talking about guys like Dr. Ken Leistner, Bill Starr, York Barbell, Richard Pop Soren. And so I had come across some excerpts from Dr. Ken writing about Zuber's Hall of Fame gym. And so they were from this Powerlifting USA magazine, 1979. Pretty wild. $10 for 12 issues. $15 for foreign subscriptions. Checks payable, Powerlifting USA. Mike Lambert. I would love to get Mike Lambert on the podcast. I'm not sure how old he is. Okay, but this is pretty dang cool. On the cover, Idiki, I forget how I say his last name. Let's see if we could find it. Born 1944. Birthplace is known as Agitagen, a farming area. Pretty jacked guy. Was pretty strong as well. Could only imagine what kind of cameras were being used back in the day. Check it out. On the back, companies selling weights. And let's see what excerpts I could find through here. Favorite thing about information from back in the day, there was no bullshit. We got a picture of Louis Simmons and an article about John Cook. Check it out. That's the famous photo of Louis squatting. One of the famous photos. John Cook was a strong dude. Looked like more of a serial killer. Paul Sutphin, there's a Sutphin in New Jersey, wrestling family. Sometimes I wonder how are they related together? Selling the super suits, which I believe was, George Zangus, where my buddy John Wellborn learned to train in his garage. I believe that was the first squat suit. $35, which was that's a lot of money back in 1979. And so can you imagine what a guy had to do to save up his money for those, for that gear? And check it out. Powerlifting Collegiate Championships. My buddy Jeremy Hartman is actually a collegiate national champion, but I love it. Back then, there was no computer-generated graphics. You actually had to draw. And it's pretty damn cool. T-shirts, powerlifting designs, check these out. There was something very special about ordering something through the mail, waiting the days, counting down the days, kind of stalking the mailman, waiting to see when your magazine or your book or your VHS tape was going to arrive. Top 100. You had to earn your way into this, and I guess there wasn't a lot of powerlifting federations, maybe just one of them, if I'm correct. And you had to earn your way up there. We've got some amateurism and athletics, strength training by the experts, and then Inside Powerlifting by Terry Todd. I remember Donnie Super D Thompson talking about this book, had to buy it. Doug Young on the cover. And check this out. Mark Chalet and Mark Dimodick at the Potomac Valley meet. I wonder if I could find Marty Gallagher's name there. But look at these guys. Built like athletes. Built like linebackers. Mark Chalet, I believe, used to run the events at York Barbell Hall of Fame. Look at one of my favorite cups that my family got me. This is a Christmas and Hanukkah present. Look at this. Old photos of my kids when they were babies. I've been drinking tea. There's my pop-up. Pop-up, great to see you. And I love that you would have to find out about gyms and health food stores through these magazines. And I have heard about this gym, Black's Health World. They were an Ohio gym, and they were a competitor against Westside Barbell. And there's a video, somebody taking a tour of that gym on YouTube. And you see like all the old powerlifting trophies. But it's really cool to see who was, making this equipment. Look at these weightlifting belts. Probably were being made in somebody's garage or basement who was, I guess you would call him, a leather maker. And these are really expensive considering it's 1979. So check it out. A weightlifting belt, suede covered with stitching, $65.95. That's 1979 compared to today. That's a $300-something belt, 100%. Dip belts, $20. Deadlift straps, $5. $5 even in the late 70s. That was some money. And these are all USA. Man, you could just go through and try to find your name and weight class to see if you fell in the top 100. And, wow, Pennsylvania State Powerlifting Championships. Let's see if I can find anything, an article by Dr. Ken. I cannot. But check this out. Wow. One of my favorite books out there, Strongest Shall Survive. My buddy Craig Fitzgerald and I, Fitzpride, always talking about this. Weightlifter's Warehouse. Strongest Shall Survive. T-shirts, $6.50. The book was $9 back in 1979. So I think that's like a $40 or $50 book. No articles by Dr. Ken. Some people who collect used gym equipment can still find Jubenville equipment in the Massachusetts area. And something really interesting is on the Zach Evanish website, on my blog, I've been writing, for 20 plus years. And I don't know how old those articles go back because I was writing articles on different websites. But I had posted some old photos of Ed Jubenville. And a family member reached out to me to tell me that there was somebody in Edison, New Jersey, not far from where I lived, who had Jubenville equipment. And I think the owners of the house had passed away. And the Jubenville gym equipment was in the basement. And they wanted me to get it. And they wanted me to, basically, the basements in Edison had access from your backyard. You had this like ground door that you would lift open, climb down some sketchy stairs, and that's where you would, that would be the basement. And it was usually smelled very musty. And heavy step squat rack. Those squat racks had different levels, $135. And so, very much like today, spending just on a squat cage, you're definitely looking around spending $1,000. Many more items, too numerous to mention. Write for free literature, over 100 items. There's something special about getting something in the physical mail. So I purchased this magazine with hopes that I would read about Dr. Ken, who was writing about Zuber's Hall of Fame gym. But I'm not seeing it. There's an article here called They Looked Stronger But Were Weaker. That's very interesting. Probably talking about some of bodybuilders, which was really, I shared a lot, but I never know how new or, anybody's been around here. But long story short, I was training in bodybuilding while competing as a high school wrestler. And so I always said I had a great physique. I looked great, but I was not strong. And so this guy right here, Paul Sutphin, the new Nationals YMCA champion, tells his story. And I'm going to read to you guys his workout and see what we think about it. Sunday, squats plus quarter squats, done heavy every other Sunday. Seated military press, done directly before benching. Very interesting how the bench press became more popular due to bodybuilding and Arnold, of course. But prior to that, the kind of lift that was the test lift was how much can you lift, meaning how much can you pick up off the ground and press overhead. Clean and press, clean and jerk. Benching, tricep presses on an easy curl bar, heavy curls on an easy curl bar. So quite a lot of work. You're squatting, You're military pressing, you're benching, and then you're doing arms. Full body workout. Then Monday, you're deadlifting. And he had 4 different deadlift variations, which include standing on a 4-inch platform, regular stance, then a conventional deadlift from the floor, pulling from a power rack with a wide stance, also known as sumo deadlift, with a bar 4 to 6 inches below the knees, and then finally pulling wide stance sumo from the floor, which I only do at contests and not in workouts, which is interesting because if you're going to do it in the competition, you would think you want to train for it. So this guy, Paul Sutphin, national YMCA national champ, was a big powerlifting meet. He was essentially using the conjugate method to prepare for lifting by rotating the exercises. Tuesday, this guy's training a lot. High volume, something we've really gotten away from. Tuesday, bench, incline bench, lying triceps, so all presses. Wednesday, just squats. Thursday, seated press, benching, lying tricep extensions. Friday off. Saturday, seated press, bench, lying triceps. Sunday, squats. So squatting twice a week, deadlift once a week, benching, if I read that correctly, benching on Tuesday, benching on Thursday, benching on Saturday, 3 days a week. Real interesting how we've gotten away from volume of work. We're like afraid. Oh, you know what? This is the article, guys. No photos. I'm just shy of needing glasses, but look at this. Back then. So this is Dr. Ken Leistner talking about powerlifting's past in 1979. I'm going to read a little excerpt. Newcomers to the sport of powerlifting often forget or do not realize that there was a time when powerlifters were looked upon with disdain by the rest of the strength community. When contests in Bill West's garage, that's Bill Peanuts West, aka Westside Barbell, in Culver City were the closest thing to a national championship. How cool is that? Powerlifting competitions in Bill Peanuts West's garage. When people like Pat Casey benched in excess of 600 pounds to the roar of 7 other like-minded individuals whose primary interest consisted of moving as much weight as possible for their own gratification, Mike Lambert, like myself, agrees that many of the events that went down in the old days, and this is written in 1979, have importance today. And for those events that were less than important, hell, they make for many humorous moments of reading. Let's see if I can pull out a different, I want to find a different excerpt here. Let's see. Let's just go with the next paragraph, and then we're going to shut it down. My introduction to weight training should have prepared me for my entrance into powerlifting. Joe Don Looney, an individual whom one would have had to know to appreciate or at least find humor in his various escapades, gave me my first formal training routine. And as I said, anything that originated with professional football's first real crazy, I believe it was Pete Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals, who once expressed the opinion that Joe Don made Dwayne Thomas seem like a choir boy, or words to that effect, should have left me well prepared for anything to follow. Like many others, I believed that a trek to California would be the thing I needed to give my training a boost. At the time, 1967, I had been training for 2 years, mainly as an adjunct to my less than successful career as a college football player. Larry Gordon, currently doing quite well on the physique scene, recommended a trip to the East Coast and specifically suggested a visit to Bob Zuver's Hall of Fame gym in Costa Mesa. Now, you guys need to go on my YouTube and just type in Zuver's gym. You will see these crazy photos of the most amazing gym ever built, ever. There will never be anything close to it. And I write about Bob in the introduction of Iron Journeys too. Let's see what he says here. Suggested Bob Zuver's gym. Hey, he's got a rack that has ringing bells, flashing lights, train wheels weighing 500 pounds. It's a real zoo. You'll love it. Larry played the running back opposite me in college. To clarify, he truly played the other running back position, but 3 or 4 strings ahead of me. I was strictly a member of the hamburger squad, and his stint on the coast had added 20 pounds of muscle and almost 100 pounds to his bench press in a very short time. I decided to check it out. That being said, that is one of the most important things to getting strong, is great training partners. And if you don't have great training partners and you're not in a great environment, you can't get strong. And I've said this many times before, and I'm going to kind of bookmark this. You can have the best training program, and you could be a great coach, but if people are not showing up, if there's not consistency, accountability, if attendance is not happening, it can't be great. And so here I am, guys. Started training in 1989. This magazine is from 1979. And what I want to say is I'm still learning. I'm still trying to learn. And it's quite disappointing that there's so many lifters and coaches who will not learn past their own damn phone. They won't learn past TikTok and Instagram. And I got to ask you a question. I'm going to leave it. This is where I'm going to close out. How do you expect your people to give their best effort when your best effort starts and ends with scrolling through your phone? Food for thought.